Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Welcome to Lady Khadija radiallahu anha. May God be pleased with her online college. This is Year 1 A-Level Maths live lesson at Edexcel, UK and International Syllabus. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are looking at factorizing, but this time it's looking a little bit different because we don't have so much as before. So this one is asking us to factorize into double brackets, but we seem to only have two terms rather than the three that we normally have. So x squared minus 25. So this is known as the difference of two squares. And the reason why it's called the difference of two squares is because each of the two terms is a square number. 25 is a square number, comes from 5 times 5. X squared is a square number because it's x times x. So when you have two squares, two square numbers, and the takeaway in the middle is finding out the difference, and this is why it's called the difference of two squares. And the technique is very, very easy. You do two double brackets. So you do double brackets, two brackets, and in each one, all you're looking at is the square root of each term. So the square root of, let's do the number first, 25 is 5. And the square root of x squared is just x, because it's what do we need to times by itself to get x squared? Well, it's x times x, so the square root of x squared is x, so that goes in each bracket. So what you see is both brackets have exactly the same numbers in, x and 5, x and 5. The only thing we need to do is make sure the signs are different. X plus 5 in one, x minus 5 in the other. It doesn't matter which one. So the reason why we put different signs is because when we do the expansion, what we'll find is that the plus 5x and the minus 5x in the expansion will cancel out. So all you're left with, the middle terms cancel out, and all you're left with is the beginning term, the x squared, and the last term, the minus 25. So let's just show you the technique again before we go into a harder example. You notice that both terms are square numbers. They can be squared. So, sorry, they come from something which is squared, 5 times 5, x times x. So then in your brackets, you're going to have the square root of each term, 5 and 5, x and x, and the signs are going to be opposite, plus and minus. You can check your answer by expanding out, but that's not necessary. Just to get to the factorizing is sufficient. So let's try a harder example. And we are looking at 4x squared minus 9y squared. The textbook I'm working through is the official Edexcel Pearson textbook. So if you have that, you can work through the same examples as well and the relevant exercises. So this is 4x squared minus 9y squared. We are going to use the same technique. We know we are going to need double brackets because this is the difference of two things which are both square numbers. Okay, so now we've got the square root to think of. So what's the square root of 4x squared? Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of x squared is x. So 2x would be the first thing in the brackets. Now look at the 9y squared. So square root of 9y squared, that would be 3y. So if you're not sure how to get that, just do the number first. Square root of 9 is 3. And then y times y would make the y squared, so that's your y. And then signs are opposite. And that is done. You can check by expanding out, but I'll leave that for you to do as a little exercise. That's factorizing using the difference of two squares. Very, very popular technique. You've got to be able to recognize it because it will unlock a lot of higher mark questions for you. That's it for today. Join me again in the next lesson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Peace be with you and the mercy and blessings of God.